What is one of the first things that comes to mind when you think of Nintendo outside of popular IPs such as Mario or Zelda? It is very likely the quirky, colourful and more often than not weird ideas that can potentially make for some of the most fun video games to play. What started as an idea for a fighting game done in a behind the camera perspective became the game ARMS, a 2017 Switch game where characters fight or essentially box each other with extendable arms. The extendable arms were incorporated to help with perspective where landing normal punches would have been hard with a camera angle. At the same time, completely new characters were created, instead of characters from Mario, Zelda or even Punch-Out. Recently, ARMS was fully playable for free for a limited time, so I decided to use that opportunity to play ARMS for my first time. Here's my review after having played several hours of it. There is no real story to this game. The game simply takes place in this quirky, colourful universe featuring a variety of characters engaging in fighting matches with each other using extendable arms. Each of the characters have their own little personality quirks, and there are a variety of stages, though the world building doesn't necessarily add much to the game, which is a bit of a shame. Still, the production values are really nice. The game generally runs smoothly and everything is generally colourful and vibrant. There are problems with texturing and aspects such as the audiences, a common problem with sports games, are not that detailed, but any flaws with the graphics are very easily overlooked. As for the sound and music, well, there's not a lot to say here. The sound effects mostly get the job done, though what is up with the high-pitched sounds of our commentator Biff? And much like in Mario Tennis Aces, you'll likely be paying too much attention to the gameplay to notice the somewhat unique music that can be action-packed where needed or catchy, like the menu music. One of the most important aspects of gameplay in ARMS is the controls. You can use the Joy-Con motion controls, similar to Wii Sports Boxing, or standard button inputs, and the button inputs can be customized to your liking. Thank goodness. The motion controls were a key focus for this game, and they are good. For the standard controls may be more a general preference for people. I mostly prefer the standard controls, more so for character movement, but landing punches with motion controls is satisfying. The controls are simple. You move your left arm or right arm respectively to extend each specific arm. Plus you can curve the direction of your punch. You can jump or dash with button inputs. You can move both arms forward to try and grab an opponent, or you move your arms backwards to guard. And when a rush gauge is full, you can unleash a flurry of powerful punches. So this game is simple to learn, but hard to master. There is a bit of a learning curve here, which shows some strategic depth. You can't just simply shake your arms or mash buttons frantically. It is about a mixture of offense and defense, and observing your opponents moving and when they are open to attack. You can counter moves with a rock, paper, scissors strategy. Punches beat grabbing, which beat guarding, which beat punches. So if an opponent is obviously guarding, you can just grab them and throw them for damage. But if your grab is inaccurate, perhaps the opponent can punch or even grab you. The amount of damage that can be unleashed when one's rush gauge is full can be reduced by guarding, just be careful not to have guarded too much. Or you can simply dodge to the side and see that your opponent during the rush moves is briefly helpless. It is also important to know which character in ARMS you select. There are 10 characters, with 5 more as DLC, and they are generally well balanced. It is up to you whom you choose. Do you choose the all-rounder Sprint Man, or the aerial movement of Ribbon Girl, or be a ninja like Ninjara, or have a robot dog as Bite and Bark? All characters can use the same kinds of arms provided you unlock them. Each arm does different things, such as general punching or explosions or stunning opponents, and also have different ranges or sizes. You can choose to have both of one arm type on each hand, or you can have 2 different ones for really interesting results. You will find some characters and arms are better than others, especially when it comes to certain stages. And speaking of stages, well, there are a nice variety of them, ranging from the simple boxing rings to outdoor spaces primarily featuring stairs. Objects such as columns and cars can also get in the way of things. There are also a fair variety of modes. There's your standard single-player Grand Prix, where you choose a character and arm sets and beat all the opponents one by one. It has different difficulty levels, with easy being, well, pretty easy. You can retry or save a Grand Prix as often as needed. You will notice during the Grand Prix the other kinds of modes that are not necessarily about simply using your arms to drain an opponent's HP. There is volleyball, basketball, hoops, target practice or skill shot, going up against 100 one-hit enemies and more. There is also training and versus matches that are worth going through alongside a Grand Prix before going online. Online is actually quite a bit of fun, with little to no lag. It is essentially a lobby full of potential chaos. Your character is placed in a random mode, whether it be fighting one-on-one or teams or one of the other modes, and on a random stage. So your choosing of a character for a certain stage may be put into question for competitive play, regardless of your arm combinations. There are some seriously good competitive players online, in case you haven't noticed, so know your strategies. There is a great degree of fun to be had in the extra modes, and it's cool to see ideas such as actually grabbing your opponent to use as a basketball, but it can be chaotic when there's more than 2 players. Also, the number of modes could have been bigger, and that is ultimately the game's biggest problem. Even with the strategies involved with the moves, characters, arm selections, and even stages, there could have been more content. This is evident early on in the number of badges you collect, with you being able to get a lot of them in a short space of time. Granted, you get money from almost any mode you do, which you can spend to get arms mode so you can get the remaining arms for each character, but that in itself can still be a bit of a grind. So it's up to you whether the strategies and general premise and gameplay sound appealing, with a surprising draw being the Super Smash Bros. Idea of easy to learn but hard to master. Also, speaking of Super Smash Bros., there are random items in matches such as those that get your HP back or are exploding bombs. ARMS is overall more appealing and longer lasting than, say, Wii Sports Boxing, for example, but you're probably better off mostly renting it and enjoying the single player or multiplayer modes for however many hours you want. Or maybe Nintendo should make the free trial of this game a regular thing, especially since an ARMS character is going to be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It could be Spring Man, but who knows. Viewers, tell me, the idea for all these electric sheep really came from a dream?